its whole reputation on being a healthy fast food option. That reputation is older than most of the menu it's selling today. Watch a guy build his own sandwich, and it feels like you're in control. You have the sandwich artist right there helping you out, making sure that you're picking the right choices and piling them high. We've got real vegetables going on right in front of you. You get to choose your bread. How cool. And what protein it is that you want. And then at the end, he's off and eating. It was quick, easy, and fast. But the bread size, the sauce, and the sandwich alone of what he orders can possibly do more damage than the protein that you're getting on that meal. Think about it. The foot long Italian BMT carries 2,300 milligrams. Guys, 2,000 is what the recommended daily amount is. That's more than your daily recommended amount, and that's just for one meal in the day. That can be challenging. You add the chips and maybe a drink in there, and we're just stacking sodium. Newsflash, sodium is in everything. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what to build when you get into that Subway line, or even better, using the app, or is a protein bowl better, or even the flatbread? We'll figure that out in this episode. Welcome back to Driven for Health. I'm Coach Brian. This is podcast 148. We're cooking here with these what to order at what restaurant series. I hope that you're enjoying it, and that cooking is what my oldest son Levi would say. If you've got teenagers, you know what I mean right now. Everything's cooking, or you're a bro. That's just the way it is. All right. Subway is the build it yourself stop, is one of the originators of fast casual. You pick your bread, get whatever protein or sandwiches that you want, and you pick the toppings, and you're along the whole process. At the end, they'll toast it for you, they'll cut it in half, and then off you go. Pretty quick. Building your own sandwiches is potentially a challenge for you, because if you don't know what the calories are in the things that you are putting on your sandwich, you could be multiplying the calories there. For example, is a loaf of bread, the foot long, better than the flatbread? For example, not really. The foot long bread will still have 310 calories in it, and that's what the Italian loaf has. Then when you have the sauce, it can add calories, carbs, fats, sugar. The Are you doing 6 inch or foot long? That size? Are you going to do double protein? Or are you doing any type of cheese? All these things will start adding 50 to 100 calories each, and it all adds up. Let's go through our tiers that we are listing to across the whole menu and help you understand what a better, healthier option is versus some of the other choices there. Let's rank 9 real orders, 1 to 10. 10 means that you should be ordering it when you go in. 1 means just walk away and leave the place, because it's going to really sidetrack your overall goals for the day, and really make you work actually harder at your health goals and fat loss goals than you think you should. All right. I looked at a bunch of different menu items, pulled it straight from Subway's own nutrition numbers, and to get these ranks. So let's get to it. First on the list, 2 out of 10. We start back with what I started off with, the foot long Italian BMT. The sandwich carries about 720 calories. Not horrible for a foot long, but it has 32 grams of fat, because the BMT has just a lot of bacon, and it has other foods that just carry lots of fat. Cheese, we've got 2,300 milligrams, as we said. That's just straight sodium, and that's only inside that one sandwich. This will hit it pretty hard. Now, if we order this once a week, that can be over 10,000 milligrams of sodium for just this one thing here. So we order it once a day all week long. That's 10,000 milligrams coming just from sodium. That is a lot from lunch, and that's a big problem. BMT stands for a lot of processed meat. stacked on top of more processed meat, and that's why the sodium is there. Now let's flip it, and a 9 out of 10 is going to be the rotisserie style chicken 6-inch. Now, a cool thing with Subway, they do have the 6-inch sandwiches that are under 500 calories. Usually it can be 300 or even definitely under 400. 36 grams of protein in this rotisserie style chicken. That's a slam dunk with only 6 grams of fat. That is a huge protein boost without the fat to back it up. If we grab this into a busy afternoon, you'll get a good reasonable amount of your protein needs met. Remember, generally trying to do 40 or 50 grams per meal, and that really helps. This is the Subway sandwich should be putting on every billboard it owns, and instead it's buried under the tuna fish salad, which is a high fat source. And it's, yeah, there's a lot of fat, not a lot of protein, a lot of fat. All right, back to the not so good. We're going to the meatball marinara 6-inch. That was one of my favorites when I was growing up. Oh, it tastes so good. Cheese, meat, and a Italian bun tastes so good, but there's a reason, because it's simple carbs with the white processed bun, the cheese, and the fatty meatball. It has 27 grams of fat and about 500 calories in the 6-inch, and 1,300 milligrams, which is just a little bit under the 2,000. It only has about 23 or 24 grams of protein. That's a rough trade off of calories for protein in compared to, say, the chicken sub. And obviously, we're going to lean more that way to make sure that you stay in alignment with your health goals. Next in line, we've got it's a pasta dish that's wearing a sandwich clothing. The bread is only there to hold the sauce in, and that's kind of what that meatball sub is. So what we have next is the foot long rotisserie style chicken or the turkey sandwich. Those are going to be the top wins to be able to do it. One of my favorite things to do is take 1 foot long Subway sandwich and dump all the contents onto one 6-inch sub. That's a super hack. We're just going to throw it here right in the middle of this episode. I think that is a power win. You can load it tons of vegetables, get double the protein on about 150 calories of bread, and you're going to be talking about 50 grams of protein in there and only maybe 10 to 15 grams of fat, which is a slam dunk. So that's going to be the power hack of this whole thing. So I hope you're listening in. We go a 4 out of 10, the tuna 6-inch. Remember, it might sound like it's healthy, but it's got 450 calories with 25 grams of fat. That's about 30 to 50% of your overall fat intake just coming from this sub. And it's mainly because of the mayo that the sandwich and the protein is mixed into to bind it together. The fish, tuna, doesn't have any fat in it, which is nice. But when we add it to make it more enjoyable with the mayo, that's where we get a challenge there. Another miss, a 3 out of 10, or probably 1 out of 10, the chocolate chip cookie. It'd be nice if they baked them fresh from actually homemade ingredients in a sense of, or made in store ingredients, but they come in a tub that was produced whoever knows where, and then they just bake them in their oven, and that's where those come from. They're not in the back actually making delicious homemade chocolate chips. That might be an 8 out of 10, but this way, it's just going to be the calories on these guys can be 220 calories, 10 grams of fat, 30 carbs, and easily half or more coming from just straight sugar and no protein. These are not going to be it. And you grab 3 lunches a week with these, that's 660 calories that you're eating just because they said, hey, here's a cookie with that. And you said, okay. And you ended up eating it. This is not good. It's nearly the calorie cost of the healthiest sandwich on this whole list if you grab the cookie. One more miss, of course, the fountain soda. That's an obvious with sugar. I'm a big unsugar sweetener guy. In episode 99, I go over artificial sweeteners, if they're good for men or not. So listen there to see the take, but in this instance, 0 calorie beverages are always going to be better than higher calorie sugary beverages for sure. A large Coca-Cola, there can be 300 calories and have 80 plus grams of sugar. That's insane. That's more than your full day's worth just in that one drink. And you're going down the diabetes alleyway and just knocking on the diabetic door saying, hey, my blood sugar level's outrageous by a liquid white sugar that I just drank. It's definitely not going to help you reach your goals and definitely not going to help your long term energy needs in the day. This can be a big problem. So, obviously, we need to swap it for water as much as we can or a 0 calorie beverage. The sandwich here is the biggest thing that we need to pay attention to is the grilled chicken 6-inch sandwich coming in at just under 300 calories at 290 calories, 27 grams of protein, 4 grams of fat. If you doubled this up, do the foot long, the two chicken breasts, and just put it onto 1 6-inch, this is a slam dunk for you to get over 50 grams of protein at the Subway meal here. This is the one of the Subway series lineups of their lower calorie foods, and this can be a slam dunk. Again, we're going to load it with, for me, if I'm going to load it, it's going to be tons of all sorts of different vegetables from lettuce, maybe a little bit lettuce because that just hogs the space. But we want actual whole vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, onions. I love the banana peppers, jalapenos, things like that are going to do the real work to help keep you full as you go throughout the day. The veggie delight, if you do it right, this can be just over 200 to 250 depending on what's on it, and it can stack a little bit of protein because the bread has some protein, and vegetables, they don't really have a lot of protein. You got to eat a lot to get that. So the veggie delight, if done right, piled high with tons and tons of vegetables. I mean, you really have to annoy the sandwich artist to be able to get more in, and then that makes it work for you in that situation. And honestly, we can always turn these things into a bowl without the bread. And you save about 300 calories for a foot long sub sandwich. That's just how much the bread costs. So, recap the foot long BMT, large soda, the meatball with a cookie, the tuna with a bag of chips. You are talking about tons of calories and a lot of fat. This isn't going to be a good idea for you. So, we got the veggie delight, then the anything with the chicken, grilled chicken, rotisserie chicken, the turkey, things like that. Even the black forest ham is going to be a slam dunk in comparison and give you lots of protein as you go. So, what do we say when we go into this? We want a 6-inch rotisserie or grilled chicken or turkey or with double all the vegetables, maybe some oil, but vinegar can definitely work. You can do some, say, chicken teriyaki sauce just to make it more fun. If you're cutting out a lot of the calories, that makes a lot of sense. And you can get in and out of there for under 500 calories at lunch, which would be another protein plus in a sense of making it work for you. Now, we again piggyback once again on the protein bowl, skip the bread. That could be the super duper slam dunk, and you'll have tons of protein, lots and lots of vegetables. Just again, don't let the sandwich artist just dictate how much vegetables you have. Keep asking for more. But hey, could you do me a good one here? Just can you grab like 2 handfuls of cucumbers and 2 handfuls of tomatoes? That would be a power play for you to do it and really staying full for longer. Because if you're just on a bed of spinach, guys, there's maybe 30 calories of spinach. No, probably like 20 calories of spinach in that bowl, and it literally is not gonna fill you up. Now, I want to throw in a little bit of angle on Subway itself. In 2021, Subway launched what it called Eat Fresh Refresh, the biggest menu overhaul in the brand's history. New bread recipes, upgraded proteins, the rotisserie style chicken that we were ranked there. Subway's own release said it framed it as proof that the brand was taking ingredient quality seriously. And the timing really wasn't an accident. It landed after a long controversy over what was in the tuna. So there's been complications with Subway in 2023. Subway sold to Roark Capital, a private equity firm. The price tag was over $9 billion. This is a premium brand. And under that new ownership, Subway's profits jumped by $15 million in 2023 to roughly $684 million in 2024. In that same stretch, the total system of revenue declined, and it ultimately Subway closed over 600 stores in 2024, and then another over 700 in 2025. And this reported tracing back to the profit jump mostly to squeeze out more money from the suppliers, the franchisors, but it wasn't not selling more sandwiches. So fewer stores, less total business coming in the door. And the highest profit number in the company's history landed in those 2 years. Well, the math only works one way, and Roark is pulling more money out of every location that's still open and not earning more customers walking through the door. This is a big problem for long term business, right? Of actually trying to stimulate an actual success. So put both of those next to each other. The points should show itself of what's happening. Subway's public story is we fix the food, and the financial story running underneath it is that private equity were posting record profits while fewer people were walking through the doors. So it's just something to pay attention. And then now let's not talk about Jared. All right, unfortunately, and Subway's being on literally every stop. You wouldn't want to be a Subway franchise owner in the heyday of Subways as they were building up, because literally, there's if you've ever heard of the franchise stories, it's challenging for sure, because you're like, hey, wait a minute, there's a Subway literally in the same plaza. It feels like that's across the street from me. Why are you allowing it here? But I digress. So the biggest thing is we want to focus on if you make this place that you eat, you can totally do it. A bigger fix is just pack your own sandwich. You can do low calorie bread, 70 calories. So that's 140 calories. You can get 6 ounces of protein, put some sauce on it, sprinkle some herbs, maybe a slice of cheese for sure. Then from there, we've got having the tons of vegetables like two peppers or a pepper and a tomato and then a piece of fruit. You got a slam dunk everyday lunch that you could do. Now, moving into fast five as we wrap up here. 5 fast questions. What happened with this tuna fish lawsuit? Well, in 2021, the case allegedly lab testing found in little to no actual tuna DNA in the Subway tuna. It got dismissed in 2023 at the plaintiff's own request. That doesn't mean there's a clean bill of admission or not, but Subway always said that the tuna was real the whole time. So I hope in that time frame that you actually got tuna and not whatever it was. And food manufacturers are tricky for sneaking things in there that you're like, this is this real food? Number two, what's the one brand swap that saves you the most calories without actually giving anything up? Well, taking a foot long is certainly a lot, but if we can swap out for the protein bowl, then you're going to kill like 300 calories. And the wraps are about 300 calories too. And that's exactly what I was going to say here. Is the lavish bread worth trying? And it depends on where it was at. Now, they talked about it being reformulated to drop it down in calories from like 300 calories to below 200. So you'd have to make sure that you just are paying attention when you're picking that. But I remember back in the day, it was it almost felt like you're getting tricked. Oh, I'm going to have the bread because it's flat and there's not as many calories. That's just unleavened bread. Didn't rise to make a loaf in a sense. Question four. What's the one condiment question worth asking every time you go in? What's going into the sauce? Oil and mayo based sauces can add over 200 calories of fat to make that food taste better because fat tastes better. And that's why they make fat based condiments. Number 5, what's the fastest way to build a salad order without thinking much about it at all? We're going to do the foot long. Everything goes on to 6 inches of the sub. Do with a chicken, turkey, ham type. To get that sandwich artist to jam as many vegetables on there. We'll probably skip the cheese because that'll be 100 calories there. And that will help quite a bit. So if you're standing in front of a sandwich artist this week or next week or whenever you hear this episode, I hope that you take these things into account and run with it. Literally run in and out and on your way to still maintaining a high protein, lower calorie meal, say 500 calories or less with 50 grams of protein would be worthwhile when at Subway. So going through this, I hope that you enjoy this. We have the Eating on the Go guide. It's at go.brianprana.com/eating on the go guide. Certainly, I'll have that in the show notes for you to grab. It breaks down, it's like 25 pages long. It breaks down all sorts of different types of restaurants from fine dining, fast casual, fast food, on the go restaurants. You've got gas stations, travel, all these things there. If you need help implementing, that's thecalltorise.com. I've talked extensively about that on this Driven for Health podcast. And this is where men do work to get real life transformations. We're not doing shots or peptides or weird fad diets. We're building lifestyles around education and implementation with group support, mostly from me, and other guys are in there as well, leading each other to be better. And that's the biggest takeaway that men get from it. They not only lose weight, but they feel so much more confident, energetic, and story after story on the website and throughout this podcast. So check that out. If you know someone who loves Subway, send them this podcast. Let them hear it too, so that they can get better choices to be healthier and be around for you and have more energy when they're around. That's it for this episode of Driven for Health. Thanks so much. Catch you in the next one. I'm going to tease you. I'm not going to tell you what